The other night I was watching a debate between Piers Morgan and Ben Shapiro. Piers Morgan got Ben Shapiro to say something so ludicrous that he ended the debate right there because it was so obvious that he had won. Ben Shapiro suggested that the Second Amendment was created to prevent government tyranny. Oh, stop. And Piers Morgan found that idea so ludicrous that he got this self-congratulatory smirk and ended the conversation right there. Like, thank you. You've said enough. We're all in stitches, so have a good night. That's such a ludicrous idea that the government could ever become tyrannical. Actually, governments over the last 100 years have mass murdered 200,000 times the number of people that individual citizens have, but those are in other places. You know, those are where uncivilized people live. I mean, places like, you know, like This Is Night. Elie Wiesel was put into Auschwitz during the Holocaust. The Gestapo took him and his family, put him in Auschwitz, and he and I believe one of his sisters were the only ones who made it out alive. But, you know, the Gestapo, they murdered 6 million. But that could never happen here because Germans are uncivilized people, you see, and so are the 171 million who have been slaughtered over the last century. Oh, and by the way, if you think I'm talking about war, that is not including war. That is called democide, and I just am referring to governments killing their own people just because you disagree with them, they don't like the color of your skin, they don't like who your parents are, they want what you've got, you live in a nice piece of property, you name it, for whatever reason, you just got in their way. They killed their own citizens. 171 million. To Piers Morgan, I guess I would say, you know, what do you base that on? That it's so ludicrous that a government could become tyrannical. What special people do we have here in the United States that prevents that? It makes me wonder what kind of ethnocentrist he is, especially when we have things like the NDAA. I mean, we now have a presidential kill list. The president can assassinate people without due process just because he puts them on his secret kill list. Jon Stewart did the best show. It was an episode called Respect My Authority. Google it. It's a good one where he goes into things that have changed in our government. And it's mainly started with 9/11. You know, it was put into motion with Bush, and, you know, Obama's taking it full steam ahead. The whole structure of the Constitution was intended to protect people from a government gone wild, because throughout history, the rule has been might makes right. And so whoever had the biggest club, and that's why women were basically owned, you know, that was the person who was in charge. And so our founders were like, hey, we got a new idea. We're going to base this country on freedom. And in order to do that, governments, man, they get really out of control because there's something about power. And we all know it's a truism. Power corrupts, but absolute power corrupts absolutely. In the book Death by Government, R.J. Rummel puts it, power kills, but absolute power kills absolutely. As horrible as these tragedies are, you know, Sandy Hook is awful, and, you know, Virginia Tech and all of them, just every life is so precious. But Stalin, it would be Stalin, a government leader, he said, you know, one death is a tragedy, but 1,000,000 deaths, that's a statistic. And nobody has proved that better than governments. So Piers Morgan, you might want to give that a little more thought.